Hey friends, welcome back to Call Me After Coffee. My name is Bree. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been around for a while, thanks for coming back. I decided I was gonna start a new 5-star or flop kind of a series on my channel. These are just gonna be random videos throughout the year because what I have learned about myself is that if I make 5-star prediction videos, I will only read one of those books on the list for the entire year. It's like once I put them on this pedestal, then I forget about them and I don't read them. What I've decided to do is instead of setting myself up for failure and posting videos that you guys never ever get an ending to, I am just gonna wait, and once I hit, there's more in this stack today, but once I hit about 5 books that I know I thought were gonna be 5 stars, then I'll let you know what I thought of them at the end, kind of like a 5-star wrap-up instead of a predictions. So these are all books that I went into expecting a 5-star readout of, and then we're just gonna see how many were hits, how many were misses, and what I thought of them. The first book that I have on the stack is Illuminae, which I definitely thought this whole series was going to be 5 stars, and unfortunately it was not. Book 1 I did enjoy. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was fun, but unfortunately the rest of the series was like a 2-star and less. Like, it just was not a good time for me. Felt like I was reading the same book 3 times in a row, so this one was definitely a flop. Like I said, the first book I did actually like, and it did get a fairly decent rating, but then it just like went downhill after that. Next on the stack, we have Scythe, which if you guys watched my videos recently, you know I loved everything about this. I actually loved this one, and I loved Thunderhead. This was a 5-star prediction. It ended up being 5 stars. It lived up to all the hype that was surrounding it. I thought it was such a fun time. It was just such a good read. It was so easy and quick to get through. The villains were awful. The good guys were good. I mean, everyone was flawed, but like the bad guy was especially bad, and you really got to get in his head and like hear his thought process, which is like horrible. But I really, really loved Scythe. I loved Thunderhead, and I'm really excited to get to the Toll. Next, we have A Man Called Ova, and you guys know that Bachman is like an instant 5-star prediction, and this one definitely lived up to that. I loved every minute of it. Definitely 5 stars, like all the stars to Ova. And I don't know how to explain this book without spoiling it. I mean, the thing I want to say happens within like the first 30 pages. You kind of learn about it, but this does surround a very dark theme, and it does have a lot of kind of dark humor in it. So if you're kind of sensitive and you like trigger warnings, this isn't like a judgment thing, but if you like trigger warnings, maybe look up what that theme is in the book or ask down below and I'll answer it in a comment just in case that sets anybody off. But I love this story, and I love books that kind of have like dark humor in it. But this is just a really, really on top of that. It's a really, really beautiful story of friendship and found family, and I love the relationships. We follow Uva, who's this really, really ornery old man, and you don't really know why he's the way that he is. And as you go through, the story starts to unfold and you find out what his life was like, and it just like makes you want to give him a great big old bear hug. Next on the pile, we have The Fountains of Silence, and I thought this was going to be a 5-star after reading Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, which I absolutely love. And honestly, I think I was a little harder on this than I meant to be. This is definitely, I would say, like 4.5 stars. There's one little thing that I just didn't like, and I still don't like it now. That being said, the more I think about this book, the more I actually love it. So I would definitely give this like 4.5, 4.75. If I reread this at some point, I might actually bump it up to a 5-star, but I did end up settling on a 4 the first time that I read it. That's just how I felt when I finished. But I definitely still recommend this because the thing that I didn't like is something that I actually think other people do like, if that makes sense. So this is set about 20 years after the Spanish Civil War while Franco is still in power, and you kind of get to see behind the scenes and the oppression and all of these things that are going on. Daniel is an American who is staying in, I believe it's set in Madrid, with his family for the summer, and then he meets Anna, who is working at the hotel that they stay at, and of course there's a romance. It's really sweet. I love both their characters so much, and I would definitely recommend this. It just wasn't like the perfect 5-star book for me. And another Frederick Bachman book, this is Us Against You. I can't say too much about this because it is the sequel to Beartown, but after reading Beartown, Pretty much everything that Bachman writes is just a 5-star prediction for me. This lived up to everything. It pulled all my heartstrings. I absolutely love the way he wrote all the characters of Beartown and Us Against You. The thing about his characters is none of them are perfect and none of them are completely just lost to the world. The bad guys always have like good aspects and the good guys always have like really dark aspects, and they're really just human. They're very, very human. And so I went into this assuming it was going to be 5 stars. It is all the stars. It broke my heart into 1,000 pieces, and I just cannot wait for book 3 to come, even though it's totally just going to make me cry a whole bunch more. Next, we have And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This one is like a classic that everybody absolutely adores. I did give this 4 stars. It didn't quite meet up to the 5-star hype, but I thought it was really fun. I thought it was interesting. It kept me guessing. I loved it. I just didn't love it like 5 stars. I read it really, really fast, and I thought it was really, really fun and really, really enjoyable, but at the heart of it, it didn't pull my heartstrings or like make me feel anything like emotionally extra special or anything like that. So definitely a solid 4. It just wasn't like the perfect book for me. And last but not least, we have Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings, and I loved every minute of this book. I loved everything about it. I can't wait to start book 2. I think I'm just gonna have to jump into it and do what I usually do with big books and just read little pieces at a time just to get myself started until I get hooked. I don't really know how to explain this, and I went into it not really knowing anything about it except for everyone loves it, because there's so much going on and I don't really know enough because I've only read the first book. I don't know enough about the story to know like where exactly it's going or what the point of it is supposed to be. As a reader, I'm more of just like, I like to be a passenger in the story. I like to just go through and learn things as I go along and figure out the story as I go. I don't really need to know what the end game is. So this has just been a really, really fun ride for me. I love so many of the characters in this book. Syl and Rock and Kaladin and Dalinar. I love them all so much. So definitely a 5-star prediction, definitely a 5-star read. I absolutely love this. Alrighty, that's everything today for 5-star or flop. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you're into this kind of a thing, if you like the wrap-ups better, because I just can't hold myself accountable to doing a 5-star prediction and then making sure that I'm in the mood to read all those books. So I think, at least for me, this is the best way to go about it. I think I'm pretty good so far at guessing, but I'm interested to see in the future how many books I'm gonna assume are 5-star and just see if any of them are like complete awful, nope, what was I even thinking? So far that didn't happen for anything in this pile, except for the last 2 books in the Illuminae files. They were bad. I think I did a pretty good job. Most of these, if they weren't a 5-star, were only a 4, so that's still pretty good, and that's still a pretty high rating for me. And I'm just super excited to see what books end up on this list in the future. Anyway, leave me a comment down below. Have any of these books struck your fancy? Did you love any of them? Did you hate any of them? Let me know down below, and while you're down there, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss future notifications. I upload most Mondays and Thursdays, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Thanks so much. Bye.